No one knows how sweet Dino is. I swear to God, no one knows. You were in the car. You weren't driving.
That man shot you, whether on purpose or on accident. He shot you. And before you've even had the opportunity to recover as much as humanly possible, he's got you on live arguing with his baby mama.
I had surgery 2 days ago, baby. Pills around like 9 or 10. So I can take my pills in 20 minutes.
Behold one of TikTok's most controversial and sickening pair, Zahra and her boyfriend/shooter, Deno.
You should... Stop putting your fucking hands on me. I'm gonna call the police on you.
Don't talk to me however you want.
Now there are bad relationships, and then there are chaotic Category 5 hurricane level ones. That's exactly what describes Zahra and Deno's relationship. Their story is one of the internet's most recent case studies of domestic violence and manipulation.
Yeah, you hear, right? Stop playing. Hold on.
We're talking about a man who took the gun his girlfriend bought him, got her point blank in the face during an argument over earrings. This is a story about a victim who woke up from a coma only to defend her shooter.
No, I know. He didn't do it on purpose. Accidents happen. And I told God, I said, I know that was an accident. Like, I know. But
A GoFundMe of close to $4,000 allegedly misused for personal expenses instead of medical bills.
She didn't scam people, because you know what, Savannah, you give a homeless man money, are you gonna tell the homeless man if you go buy food with it, or you're gonna say don't spend your money on drugs or whatever? They're gonna do whatever they want with that money. You guys did not donate to Zahra for her life choices. People donated for her bills, not life choices. Owe y'all anything? She doesn't owe y'all an explanation.
oh, and
She for sure.
And a reconciliation so sickening that it broke the internet.
Hello, why you look like this?
what? Like Bartman?
Zahra and Deno's relationship managed to capture and horrify millions of internet users. And it got even uglier when Zahra's own family exposed her non-existent relationship with Deno, the abusive man she had been defending. Now, we've all seen similar relationships where love and violence coexisted until something catastrophic happened. Chris Brown and Rihanna, and recently, social media influencers Kayla Malik and Evan Johnson. The major difference this time is that this case is even bigger than celebrities. Chris Brown and Rihanna were already famous for their music, whereas Deno and Zahra became public figures for gun violence and relationships. They showed their ugly side to their over 180,000 followers on TikTok. This isn't your typical influencer breakup drama. It's a sickening cycle of manipulation and trauma bonding.
I'll show you stupid. I'll show you how stupid I can get over this one. You hear me? Because I can get real motherfucking.
How did a survivor end up defending her assailant? How did the internet react to this? And where are they now? Get ready as we unpack this nightmare.
I need you to kiss me.
What's up?
Let's be fake for TikTok.
Why? Is you recording?
No, definitely not, but let's be fake for TikTok.
In the early hours of July 5th, 2024, the Flower Mound Police and Texas Dispatch received a call from a hysterical woman. She was crying, talking about how her friend was shot and they needed help. This caller was Zahra's friend, Andrea, who had been with the couple. Also present that night were Zahra's sister, Sadea, or as she's popularly known TikTok, Phony, and her boyfriend, Xavier Watts.
And I almost.
The group had met up to attend Flower Mound's Independence Day Festival in Texas. It was a normal day, but things quickly spiraled out of control later that night. Zahra Hashemi and Ladarius Brownlee had gotten into a heated argument in the local park. Andrea had claimed that the root cause of this argument was a cheating accusation against Deno. However, Zahra later confirmed that they'd been arguing over earrings.
And tell people that we were fighting over infidelity. I was arguing with him about my earring.
According to the police report, the argument had turned physical at some point. Zahra and Ladis got into a physical altercation that included both parties assaulting each other. Andrea later stated that Zahra suffered a nosebleed from the altercation. This was serious. In what world did a normal relationship ever get to the point where blood was drawn? The simple answer, none. The crazy part is that the fight didn't end with only a little nosebleed. This was only a warm-up for what was to come. When the argument became too unbearable, everyone hopped into Deno's Chevrolet Blazer to blow off steam and call it a night. Unfortunately, this was far from what happened. The argument didn't stop, it only intensified. Then, in the heat of the moment, Deno pulled a gun and did the very thing someone wouldn't dare to do to a loved one. He pulled the trigger. The bullet was lodged right above her right eye. Of all places for the gun to hit, this was a vital spot. The bullet went straight to her eyes and into her brain. Zahra needed stitches along her eyebrows when she underwent surgery.
I got stitches in my eyebrows and then the back of my eyes, but he told me the back of my eyes is a major surgery.
Not only that, but the doctors had to cut out fat from her hips and belly to fill in the spaces in her temple.
They had to take fat from my hips or my ribs to put it in my temporal. But he told me that I didn't have fat on my hips or my ribs. My hips or my ribs. So they took it out of my...
It was a horrific experience for anyone to go through. Zahra's right eye was never the same afterwards.
Imagine your eyeballs being right here, and then now it's up here, and they had to push it up.
You can imagine the medical horrors that emerged from one single night. Deno had pulled the trigger and the anger he felt minutes ago completely vanished from his face. All that was left, the reality of his girlfriend bleeding all over her face. What happened next will blow your mind. You see, Deno, in all his infinite wisdom, began to perform CPR on the fatally injured Zahra. He possessed every basic knowledge in the book about how to shoot a gun. However, Deno was completely clueless about what to do next. He didn't think to stop the bleeding. No, he decided to perform CPR while Andrea called medical emergency for help. At some point in that phone call, Deno took over from Andrea and spoke to dispatch. His tone? The exact opposite of Andrea's agonizing voice. Deno was calm, disturbingly calm.
Oh, yes, the person with the gun, where is he?
I'm right here. It wasn't my gun, but I'm...
He wasn't crying. He wasn't screaming. Deno told the operator that it was an accident. He didn't mean to do it.
It was accidental, but I got it. It's all good. Y'all just come on, please.
With the way he just said it, you'd think he just spilled a drink if you didn't know any better. But this was not the case. He shot his girlfriend in the face. How could bringing out a gun, pointing it at her, and pulling the trigger be accidental? Guns don't accidentally shoot themselves. There had to be intention behind it. There are heights to which anger can take you, but not to this extent. Zahra and Deno looked so in love in their videos. They were inseparable whenever they went strolling, clubbing, or even when they were at home. And now this happened. He shot her over a silly argument. And to make matters worse, this gun had been a gift to him from Zahra.
You hear, man? Stop playing. You did. Hold on.
Zahra had bought it for him for their safety, after he had disposed of all 3 guns he previously owned. Unfortunately, he used it on her. If you truly loved someone, you wouldn't flash a gun at their face no matter what. And claiming it was accidental? That was too absurd and convenient to be true. When police arrived, they found Zahra lying in the street, bleeding out from a gunshot wound. She was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. While Deno was arrested, the chaotic night ended, but this was only the beginning. By sunrise, local news had already reported the story. And it didn't take long for internet users to recognize the names. The same Deno and Zahra who had entertained over 180,000 followers with playful banter.
What I say? Hey, bitch. I didn't say bitch. I didn't say bitch. Hey, bitch. I didn't say bitch.
Dancing videos. Couple challenges.
Is it cheating if I go to a section with my homeboys and this girl's there?
Yes.
Why
Because if
And skits were now at the center of a violent crime, forcing the followers to think that how can a relationship which once looked like it was built on laughter and love had ended in bloodshed? The platform turned into a full investigation and discussion hub. The shockwaves rippled through social media. Reddit threads popped up, documenting every angle of the situation, from the police reports to Zahra and Deno's relationship as projected on their TikTok page. Now, followers were dealing with a real-life crime story. While they celebrated Deno's arrest, online sympathizers were worried about Zahra, who was still fighting for her life at the hospital. A bullet to the face was not a mild case, and frankly, the odds were not looking good. For the first several days, the reports weren't good. Zahra's doctors were not optimistic about her chances. She had suffered from a traumatic brain injury, TBI, and so her family members were told to prepare for the worst. Fortunately, she made it. Gradually, her heart rate stabilized and she responded to signals. It was a miracle. Zahra had survived despite her doctor's expectations. Moving on, her road to recovery began with baby steps. She did small stretches to get her limbs back in shape. Phony shared the update on her TikTok page. It has been tough, but with everyone's prayer, she is truly a miracle. A week and a half ago, the doctors and detectives told us to say goodbye, and today she is awake, sitting up, and took her first steps.
We were supposed to go and pretty much say goodbye to her. Like, that was it. Like, we were supposed to say goodbye, but she heard she literally heard our voices. She heard us.
It was indeed a miracle. However, Zahra still had a long way to go. Since she suffered from TBI, she had to relearn how to talk, walk, and eat.
Ready? Count to 5. Let's do it together. 1. No, with your voice. 1. She's looking at the water too.
I know.
This was someone who had taken a bullet right above her eyes. It was a lethal shot and could have ended her life even with all the medical intervention in the world. But Zahra was lucky. She pulled through and won the battle for a second chance at life. Every day was a battle. Every small improvement was a victory. But through it all, the big question lingered. Would Deno face the wrath of the law? Now, this was the tough part because we all know how that turned out. Zahra's case quickly gained all-round attention and sympathy from netizens as it blew up on the internet. Users rallied around Zahra in a way that was genuinely moving. The Justice for Zahra hashtag trended across multiple platforms. Her sister Phony pushed for it and even started a GoFundMe for Zahra, titled Zahra Hashemi's Recovery. It came with a heartfelt plea. Dear friends, family, and kind-hearted strangers, I'm reaching out with a heavy heart and a plea for help. My sister Zahra Hashemi has recently faced a major health crisis, has an urgent need of support to cover her hospital and rehabilitation costs. The rest of the description explained that the money would go towards surgeries, physical therapy, and long-term neurological care. The donations poured in. The target was $50,000, and about $3,700 was raised. Hundreds of people, families, friends, and complete strangers, all moved by her story, contributed what they could. This outpouring of generosity proved that despite all the toxicity on social media, there was still genuine compassion in the hearts of onlookers. As Zahra's comeback continued to shake the internet, Deno sat in Denton County Jail wearing an orange jumpsuit. His mugshot circulated online, and no TikTok filter could soften that look. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The public sentiment was overwhelmingly against him. How could it not be? He shot his girlfriend. People wanted to see him held accountable. They wanted justice. Unfortunately, justice, as it turns out, doesn't always come in the form we expect. As Zahra continued on her journey to recovery, everyone waited for her to tell the truth about what happened that night. Surely, after nearly dying, after enduring multiple brain surgeries and facing months of recovery, she would want accountability. She would want justice, right? Sadly, that wasn't the case. Zahra repeated to the authorities the same thing Deno had said that night. It was an accident.
Yeah, when I first found out, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I know. He didn't do it on purpose. Accidents happen. And I told God, I said, I know that was an accident.
She told the police that Deno hadn't meant to shoot her. She pleaded with them not to arrest him, though by this point he was still in custody. Zahra, the victim, the one whose testimony mattered the most, insisted it wasn't intentional. The internet was stunned into silence. Then the silence turned into confusion before evolving into a full debate. Was she protecting him out of love? Out of fear? Was she being manipulated? Had the trauma warped her perception of reality? The questions multiplied, but clear answers remained elusive. Things even took a hard left when the police report from that fateful night finally made it to the internet. In this report, there were more details about the shooting. And here's where things got a little dark. Andrea, who for the record had been the first to call 911 that night, had provided the most details about the incident to the police. But Phony's description more or less made Deno out to be slightly more innocent than the incident proved him to be. For instance, this particular striking part where Phony had stated that Deno and Zahra never fought, while Andrea claimed that Phony had told her the opposite on different occasions. This was the statement handed over to the police, and it seemed as though Phony was trying to save Deno's face. Deno, the one who had shot her sister right in her presence. It becomes extremely difficult to defend Deno's actions when we reach this section of the report. It read, while he was looking for his gun, Deno stated, "If I find this gun, on my mama," which Drea took to believe would shoot Zahra if he found it. The inspector once again asked Andrea what she believed his statement could have meant in her own opinion. Andrea's answer was cutting and clear. Deno intentionally shot her friend. Do you know what's most surprising about this entire turn of events? The fact that the majority of the details from that night came from Andrea and not Phony, who was also present. Phony had remained silent, as if she didn't want to get Deno in trouble. It looked like a silent cover-up, like she didn't want to expose him to the internet. Even in the TikTok post she shared after Zahra woke up from her coma, Phony claimed that it wasn't in her place to interfere in her sister's affairs. "We don't want to release any information about what happened in my sister's relationship without her explicit approval, and she deserves her privacy." That sounds off, don't you think? What sister would protect the identity of a man who harmed her family? All it would have taken is one statement, "Deno did it," especially since Zahra and Deno had fans rooting for them on their TikTok page. There were news reports and police statements in circulation. One little hint wouldn't have hurt anyone. But for some reason, Phony and probably the rest of Zahra's family kept quiet about her attacker. This development made a lot of people question Zahra's post-recovery statement. Was someone manipulating her? And to what end? For what purpose? The questions and concern eventually checked out when months after her recovery, Zahra appeared back on TikTok with a new story wired into her formatted brain.
The only thing my sister didn't tell me is the fact that I was trying to reach for the pew-pew. But he said that he thought I was going to use it and pew-pew someone, and I'm scared of it.
This video came at the time Zahra had interacted with Deno after she left the hospital. Deno made her believe that she had intended to grab the gun first before it was accidentally discharged. And not only that, but from Zahra's opening statement, Deno had told her that her sister Phony knew but kept it from her. Bear in mind that Zahra had just suffered from a traumatic brain injury. She had no recollection whatsoever of what had happened, so she was open to hearing the statements of the ones she trusted the most. Unfortunately, she was being spoon-fed these falsified statements, which had not been submitted to the police on the night of the shooting. It does make you believe that manipulation was at play. From Deno and possibly her own sister Phony, they were trying to make Zahra think that the gunshot was an accident, and Deno played no active part in it. Other commenters believed the same. Mind you, she has no recollection. This is what they're telling her that's so sad. She didn't cause this. They want her to believe she did it herself. It's sad her sister couldn't even tell her the truth. At this point, a bunch of information was not adding up. Why would Phony keep her sister in the dark about this toxic case with her boyfriend? What was her endgame? Phony and Zahra are very close amongst their other 7 siblings. They always hung out together and would often joke about how they were twins on TikTok. Zahra and Phony truly had the sweetest bond on the internet. From the way they always featured in each other's comment sections to live streams, Phony always posted the most heartwarming videos about Zahra.
But it's cool, I checked out. Oh, you want to be friends now? Okay, let's put my fake face on and pretend now. Sit around and talk about the good times. It didn't even happen. I mean, why are you laughing? Must have missed that joke. Let me see if I can find a reaction. No, but at least you're happy. It's like one here.
So you would never believe that she would want to harm her own sister. However, what was doing, the way she was keeping quiet about Deno, was not for Zahra's own good. On a TikTok live with Zahra much later, Phony defended herself by stating that the police had told her and her sister not to say anything about the case.
Also, ask the cops, what can we say and what can we not say? Okay? We can't say anything online. We can't say he's innocent. We can't say he's not.
You guys better.
But that's the problem. While it's unlawful to pass judgment on a person without a trial, it's not wrong to state the simple fact to the audience who were interested in Zahra's case. News articles had already published Deno's face everywhere, linking him to the crime. But Phony claiming that she didn't want to mention Deno's name for lawful reasons was simply absurd. Some said it's because her boyfriend Xavier was Deno's best friend, so she was sticking up for him. Others believed it was because Zahra and her sister were not on a good page before the incident. But was that enough justification to hide a cruel truth from your own biological sister? Truth be told, the two ladies had their fair share of sibling wars.
Out. What did it say? Get the out. I swear to God, I'll grab you my phone. I'll break that shit. Get the
And I
out.
will break your face. No, let's go. Come on.
They were mostly harmless, just the typical banter amongst sisters. But they often became repetitive in the whole Deno saga. Zahra and Phony would argue on live streams more times than anyone could count, oftentimes for reasons that would make you wonder if truly there was something else underneath. Here's a compelling example.
Yeah, she has a TBI. That's why I've learned to be patient.
You're not Fatma. No.
She said no.
It's not funny. Fatma, if you say something about them again, I swear to God.
Now you can see how Phony more or less mocked her sister when she didn't feel comfortable about the topic of their discussion. Here's another one.
No, you can, Fatma, keep lying. All you want. I don't care.
She's always mean to you. Yeah, she is.
But why? Why? Because you left everything at my apartment.
In this video, Zahra was upset about Phony not moving all her belongings from Deno's apartment. This is just to offer a glimpse of the nature of the minor disputes the audience were made to watch. As you probably guessed, the comments were not all rainbows and sunshine. One user wrote, "She's more upset at her sister over materialistic things than at the man that put her in this situation. Wild. Her saying Fatima is a liar. She sure is. She lied about what happened to protect Deno." From these comments, it was clear that Deno was a touchy subject and that the two always fought about it. What's more, Zahra was upset by it more times than not. She was in a pitiful state all round. If you were in her shoes and you saw your own sister acting sly and cynical toward you, how would you feel? And you know what's even crazier? She would later have a hunch that something was wrong.
The only thing that I am so confused about, and I want to believe my sister and Zay, but like, I still don't know.
Sadly, nothing would change. Zahra danced to the beat everyone was setting for her, and just when people thought they had seen the peak of this twisted story, Zahra took it to a whole new level. In one live stream on TikTok, Deno finally appeared. But this was no ordinary live stream. It was Zahra's.
Hello, why you look like this?
Deno and Zahra were together on this live stream, and that wasn't even the most insane part. As if chilling with the boyfriend who almost murdered her wasn't enough, Zahra stooped into an even lower level by engaging in a screaming match with Deno's baby mama. The joke writes itself, honestly. Deno's baby mama had allegedly decided to keep their son away from him, which, by the way, is understandable considering his recent ties to gun violence, and Zahra, not Deno, the father of the kid, was not having it.
Shot you. And before you've even had the opportunity to recover as much as humanly possible, he's got you on live arguing with his baby.
Can you imagine that? She was basically fighting someone else's war with the energy she didn't use for herself.
Arguing with his baby mama. Like, where is he in all this? If he wants to see his kid so bad, because it seems as though that's what you're crashing out about, because you feel as though his baby mama's not allowing him to see his kid, all right, which is something I'm going to address in a second. We're going to get there, right? But
the internet watched in absolute horror as Zahra proved time and time again that she had lost her marbles. Even Deno's baby mama believed both women needed to have a proper discussion because nothing about her reaction was making sense.
The way she came at me initially was just overboard, to the point where I was like, it's not genuine, something's off about it. You know what I'm saying?
Sadly, that day never came. Onlookers were no fools. Many were certain Deno had an agenda of buttering her up so she could drop charges. However, only Zahra refused to see it that way. The controversy only grew and the internet hoped for justice irrespective of the ongoing drama. But Zahra, she didn't care about the concerns and only wanted everyone to mind their business and let her live her life, even if that life included the man who nearly ended it. But how did we ever get here?
I don't care, and I don't think he cares. Like, it's okay.
Now, with the way Zahra was behaving, you'd think she and Deno had been together for a decade or so. But the truth is they had only been together a little over a year. The first ever video on their joint TikTok account was dated April of 2023. A deep dive into some of Deno's old posts also revealed that they had been seeing each other around March. We see that here in Sarah, one of Zahra's sister's comments. So yeah, they're not exactly one of those veteran couples on the planet. And mind you, they were worlds apart before they entered a relationship. Zahra was a content creator from North Texas. She had 6 sisters and a mother. After losing her father to gun violence, Zahra and her sisters navigated life on their own. Meanwhile, Deno was an average TikToker and a baby daddy. The pair had different responsibilities to handle in their distinct affairs, but they somehow managed to find love and go public. Their joint account was filled with the standard fare of couple content, banters.
Why are you in my sanctuary, though?
Belongs to us.
Belong to me.
Belongs to us.
Pranks.
Did you just hit me?
What's up? What's up?
And basic couple goals content.
Hey, I got a feeling that you might be.
Together, Zahra and Deno built their empire of followers. For many viewers, Zahra and Deno weren't just content creators. They were proof that relationships could be messy, imperfect, and still work. They often argued on camera.
Like, I can't even plan with you. You should.
Stop putting your hands on me. I'm gonna call the police on you.
Don't talk to me however you want. Don't act like my little hits be hurting you.
But they always seemed to work it out. Zahra and Deno represented the ideal imperfect duo. But with the ugly incident on that fateful day, it was difficult to believe in their relationship like before. This is especially true when viewers began to notice some red flags they might have overlooked all those months ago. Behind the curated content, behind the playful banter and couple challenges, there were signs. Really terrible signs. After the shooting, when people re-examined Zahra and Deno's old content with new eyes, the red flags became glaringly obvious. What had seemed like edgy humor or teasing suddenly looked like a foreshadowing of the Independence Day incident. Suddenly their play fights didn't seem all lovey-dovey as it was initially perceived.
Better take them.
But what?
You better start taking these hits. You better toughen the hell up.
You see that?
Better toughen
If
the
I
hell
wanted
up.
to, I'll be trying to show
You better
people.
toughen the hell
I'll
up.
be
You
trying
better
to show
take these
people
hits.
that I could, you know, put you on your legs. Real.
Additionally, not only were the videos showing the aggressive sides of Deno, but they also highlighted Zahra as somewhat of an aggressor as well.
The love of my life, I'm not marrying nobody else. What are you recording?
Okay, so check this out. Check this out. So check this out.
You irritate me.
I'm trying to ask my fucking question.
Your questions irritate.
Looking back now, it's impossible to see it as anything other than what it was. Physical aggression, control, and intimidation disguised as a joke. And guess what? That's how abuse works sometimes. It's hidden in plain sight, wrapped in humor, just like Chris Brown and Rihanna's case. They were the power couple of the music industry once upon a time. But behind every happy photo and video of them were a series of assault and violence that had been covered up time and time again. History was repeating itself with Deno and Zahra before anyone ever took note. The playful shoves, and questionable content.
I'm not trying to hear that shit, bro. I can wash the damn dishes. Come on, watch out.
Here you go. Come on.
These aggressive play fights were warning signs, and the fact that the couple saw them as laughable content was very problematic. Deno and Zahra might not have been extremely violent with each other on screen, but they were indeed toxic one way or the other.
Off me. I'm gonna smack you with this pen. What is your problem? You're so annoying. You just come home and all you do is complain.
God damn.
Like you're welcome for washing the dishes.
I'm not trying to hear that shit, bro.
Even a police report from the night of the shooting confirmed that what played out online was only a fraction of what might have potentially been happening behind closed doors. There were arguments, physical assault, and nosebleeds that night. And the icing on top, there were shots triggered by blind rage. Zahra and Deno were not healthy for one another. And if we were to take the red flags from their TikTok videos into account, we could actually say the outcome wasn't much of a surprise. Had it not been a gunshot that night, it could have been one of their playful pranks or banters some other day. Now that we've taken a glimpse at the nature of their relationship, this brings us to the million-dollar question. Why exactly was Zahra still protecting this man? Maybe her attachment to him was ruling her sense of judgment. Take the story of Natasha Kampusch, for example. She had been kidnapped at the age of 10 and only escaped from her captor after 8 years. After going through such a traumatic experience, Natasha did the unthinkable by buying her captor's house. This response, far crazier in scope than Zahra's, is quite similar in pattern. Both ladies had formed an attachment to the unhealthy experience and reacted in ways that confused people. And if that's not the case for Zahra, perhaps she was being manipulated not just by Deno, but by his lawyer. Think about cases like Jeffrey Epstein's, where his lawyer and ex-partner maintained his innocence even with the evidence mounted against him. Manipulation by legal teams happens. Most times victims are convinced that protecting their abuser is in their best interests, that cooperating with the defense was the right thing to do. They're convinced that their own perception of events was wrong and that the lawyer's version is correct. Any of these scenarios could have played out behind the scenes. Since Zahra, a victim who was suffering from traumatic brain injury, had been spoon-fed different versions of the story following her recovery, it was possible that she felt the need to protect Deno. She had been told that she was at fault for dragging the gun with Deno, and Deno himself claimed that it was an accident. This wasn't speculation pulled from nowhere. It's a pattern we've seen play out in domestic violence cases for decades. We even saw it in the 2019 thriller movie Secret Obsession, where a lady with amnesia unknowingly walked into a toxic relationship with her stalker and captor who posed as her husband. This could have been Zahra's reality at this point, and the internet was left with no choice but to watch her from the sidelines and hope she came to her senses when it mattered most, that is, in the courtroom. Sadly, the case would not end the way everyone expected. Deno's arrest should have been the beginning of justice. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and deadly conduct. These were serious allegations that carry serious penalties. According to the Texas Penal Code 22, it's punishable by a fine of $10,000 at best, and prison time ranging from 2 to 20 years at worst. But as Zahra finally entered the scene, the trajectory shifted. With her on Deno's defense, the prosecution's case became significantly weaker. Eyewitness testimony, that is, Andrea and Phony's statements, could only hold water if the victim herself admitted that Deno had intentionally hurt her. But we all know Zahra was missing a lot of brain cells and couldn't bring herself to testify against her attacker. The stage was set for Deno to have a smooth-sailing trial. But here's where the shocker happened. In February 2025, Deno entered a guilty plea, but he maintained his stance that this was accidental, not attempted murder. And with that came the unexpected verdict. Deno was given 10 years probation, no prison time. A man shot his girlfriend in the face, caused traumatic brain injury that required 4 surgeries and months of rehabilitation, and he walked out of the court with probation. You can already imagine the outrage on TikTok. It was so immediate and intense. How is he out? He gave her a bloody nose during their initial argument. The gunshot wasn't an accident. I don't see how he's currently free. Probation isn't enough. He wanted to murder that girl. Everyone was angry. As a result, they shifted their anger to the GoFundMe her sister created for her. The link is still on her page to this day, and it currently raised $3,700. Seeing how Zahra and her family were satisfied with the outcome of the trial, internet users felt like they had been scammed. For instance, this commenter wrote to Phony, "Your sister publicly got shot by a man and people are clout chasing off it, but you guys made a GoFundMe talking about justice for Zahra, and now it was an accident? No hate, but I'm confused." Over 700 people agreed with this comment, and it was a valid point. Phony had started the Justice for Zahra trend without essentially telling the audience about Deno's involvement in the case. Phony had made it seem like she was demanding justice for her sister, who had been a victim of domestic violence, and she also set up a GoFundMe for that. And they still made it seem like DV to get money, so these followers had donated their hard-earned money to ensure that Zahra got her justice. But instead of testifying against Deno, they remained silent and pushed the narrative that the gunshot was an accident. And the worst part is they made it seem like they didn't owe any explanation to anyone. Here's Phony's response to the GoFundMe accusations. "If you read the GoFundMe, it never says anything about DV, so no, I didn't." You can hear the nonchalance in her tone, and it doesn't end there. On the topic of the Justice for Zahra trend, Phony claimed she had only started it because the first hospital wouldn't treat Zahra due to the severity of her wound.
No, I say justice for Zahra because the doctors left her to die. The first hospital.
Phony claimed that this was the only reason for her statement. She had clamored for justice against the hospital, not against Deno, who had shot her own sister.
You was claiming justice. Baby, I was talking to Dino the whole entire time. So why would I claim justice on Dino when I was speaking to him the whole entire time?
Can you believe that? Phony Zahra's own blood sister had been silently supporting Deno since day one. Through the hashtag justice movement and GoFundMe page, she gave internet users the impression that they were helping in the fight against Deno. But now she was outrightly proving to be on Deno's side. The lack of accountability was unfair to the followers who genuinely wanted Zahra to win this case. Online users had believed they were helping a victim, not bankrolling an abusive apologist. Perhaps the money funded Deno's lawyer. Note was spent on her BF lawyer fees to set him free. Or maybe it served some other purpose aside from the medical bills it was intended for. No one knew and no one cared to understand. Zahra had lost the public sympathy and they didn't trust her anymore. So they called for accountability. And Zahra, well, she responded on a live stream, claiming she had not spent the money on Deno.
I swear to God, I didn't use that for Deno's lawyers. I didn't use that for Deno at all.
But where there is no trust, it's hard convincing thousands of people on the internet. People who had just witnessed you set your shooter free. So the disbelief lasted, to the point that Phony spoke on the matter as well.
You didn't scam people. Because you know what, Savannah? You give a homeless man money, are you going to tell a homeless man if you go buy food with it? Or are you going to say, don't spend your money on drugs or whatever? They're going to do whatever they want with that money. You guys
don't have a profile
to Zahra for her life choices. People donated for her bills. Not owe y'all anything. She doesn't owe y'all an explanation.
Oh, and
she for sure did not scam nobody.
Based on her reasoning, Zahra didn't owe anybody any explanation for how the money was spent. Honestly, this family had no control. It was one nightmarish attitude after another, and it kept getting progressively worse. You see, the internet's anger was wasted on Zahra because she simply didn't care. Her next move would leave you in complete and utter shock. After Deno walked out of the court a free man, Zahra appeared on TikTok with a message that made everyone's blood run cold. She told the internet what an angel Deno was.
No one knows how sweet Deno is. I swear to God, no.
The whole video was just her talking all this jumbled nonsense about how she was a Capricorn and people didn't know the whole story because they weren't in the car that night.
You weren't in the car, you weren't driving, you weren't anywhere. And do people even know where I was at? Do you? No, I'm a Capricorn. So why do I need to stick up for someone that doesn't need to be stuck up?
From the way she was talking, you'd instantly assume she hadn't fully recovered from her brain injury. Her reasoning was staggering. She was actively defending Deno to hundreds of thousands of people who were begging her to see reality. Zahra was Annalise Keaton for Deno, and she did her unpaid job with so much passion. She defended him for not being able to pay her medical bills.
So when he was in jail for 7 months and a week, how do you want him to pay for it? Okay. Judge your own board.
She even claimed he made her stronger than ever.
Stronger than ever. What did he do to me except make me come back stronger than ever? He ruined my whole life. How?
But the problem that Zahra was not seeing was that none of this would have been an issue if Deno hadn't shot her. She kept on focusing her energy and defending him from haters instead of thinking for herself. In her head, all that mattered was Deno. And mind you, she was ready to sue.
Sue him for emotional distress. Cherry, I'm going to sue you for emotional distress. What the
Don't you feel a bit jealous by this great power of love? I mean, it does make you wonder what truly was going on in her head. Zahra was going full rampage on everyone online. But why was she getting into arguments with people because of Deno of all people? She argued with her sister Phony, and she also argued with his baby mama. Zahra had been getting into senseless fallouts with trusted friends, all because of Deno. And hold on, this is where you're about to get more bamboozled. Remember Andrea, the friend who had placed the call to 911 and narrated a more detailed statement to the police? So Zahra lashed out at her for making such a statement to the police. You heard that right. Instead of appreciating her friend's dedication and love, Zahra called Andrea out on a live stream.
Did you guys not see her comments? But when you guys read the police report, did they add up? And you guys saw that I commented and I said, even the lawyer said that you're inconsistent because she didn't answer on anybody. She talked to the detective.
Zahra was convinced that Andrea's account was false because she hadn't advocated for Deno to remain in jail. According to her reasoning, if truly Andrea believed Deno was harmful, she would have made sure that he never won the case.
So if everything that you're saying is actually facts, why didn't you make sure he didn't get out? Because I'm gonna do it. If I know what I'm telling you guys or the cops is the truth, I'm going to make sure he doesn't get out.
At this point in the story, I don't expect us to find logic in Zahra's case. Her viewers were also fed up with the mindless rambles. Andrea didn't lose anything, and Andrea can't help him in jail. If the victim isn't willing to cooperate, and clearly her sister and boyfriend aren't going to go against him, that's why he got out. Why is she so angry at everyone but Deno? The truth is, no one knows to this day. Zahra's case was as mystifying as the origins of COVID-19. She just came on the internet with so much force and was using that energy to fight for her attacker. It was truly baffling how someone could be like that.
But at the end of the day, it's just so sickening how somebody can defend a man like that, and how she can go on the internet and cuss out everybody else.
Thanks to this attitude, Zahra and Andrea's friendship ended. Andrea called it quits, but not without insisting that Phony lied to Zahra. And we already know that by now, don't we? And Zahra? Well, she came on live once again and bluffed that Andrea had to be sued for, wait for it, ruining her life.
I need to sue Drea. Like, what? You ruined our life.
Honestly, it's quite sad that the more you listen to her words, the more you wonder if she was still suffering from the effects of her brain injury. Zahra wasn't listening to anyone, and she was pushing away the people who cared for her. Now this brings us to the most important aspect of the story. In all the ongoing issues, we had not heard a word from Zahra's most valuable player, MVP, himself. With him out of jail, he could finally buttress his own side of the story, though it's clear that everything he says will just be rage bait. When Deno finally broke his silence beyond the courtroom, his response was everything people feared it would be: self-centered, cold, and completely lacking in genuine remorse.
So with this situation, cause it was an accident. It was completely an accident. In no way did I mean to hurt that girl. And that's just real.
Right off the bat, Den referred to Zahra as that girl. You can hear the complete detachment in his tone. He didn't call her his girlfriend or his woman. He called her that girl, as if she were some random girl at the mall. The implications behind that kind of apology spoke volumes. It was dehumanizing, even dismissive. Deno spoke in a way that separated him emotionally from what he had done. And it didn't end there. Deno went on to complain about how difficult the situation had been for him.
Had this situation been something that was intentional, I wouldn't be right here talking to you. It's a process. You want me to sit in? I'm not finna sit in jail because that shit lame in here, that shit garbage here. I'm not sitting in there waiting to go to trial and do it.
Loosely translated, Deno basically said he couldn't afford to go to jail for something as lame as this. And if we were to read between the lines, he only took the plea deal to avoid prison. In this whole live stream, there was no mention of Zahra's pain, no acknowledgement of what she went through, the surgeries, rehabilitation, and permanent changes to her life. It was all about how the legal processes inconvenienced him. And you know what's worse? He bounced out of the relationship quicker than a folded spring. That was it. When the storm had finally eased up, he ended his relationship with Zahra. And Deno somehow felt compelled to tell his audience that her scars from traumatic brain injury had nothing to do with his decision.
I didn't give a fuck about this shit. Like, I took full accountability for the whole situation. And I didn't leave because she got scars, gang. Like,
the online backlash was brutal. Some commenters quickly called him out for how he addressed Zahra. She's not that girl. She has a name, Zahra. And some others claimed he had remained by Zahra's side to avoid jail time. Bro, he stayed with her so he didn't get locked up. He ruined her. It's crazy. And honestly, this last comment made a disturbing amount of sense. He stayed close during her recovery to ensure she didn't change her story. And now that he had gotten probation, he could show his true feelings on the matter, which was plain annoyance that it had dragged on this long. It was calculated and cold. And frankly, it fits Deno, a man who was willing to grab and shoot a gun during an argument. Although the relationship had more or less ended, it became completely official when a new source exposed the lies. This new source was Zahra's only brother. While Zahra was on her live, he confirmed what many internet users knew all along. The couple were no longer together, and the shooting incident wasn't an accident.
This is my mom's couch.
That's why Gino doesn't like you. Gino broke up with you, Drea's right. You're lying about
Yeah.
The whole scene was a chaotic mess as both siblings were shouting over each other, but we were able to quote the important parts. Deno doesn't like you. Deno broke up with you and Andrea was right. You're lying about the case.
Well, her brother just exposed her and spilled all the tea on her live. Her brother was saying that Dino left her, hasn't been around, and that she's lying about everything.
For the longest time, Zahra had been trapped in a cycle of manipulation and denial, and was unable or unwilling to accept the truth. But with her brother's intervention, there was a shift in the narrative. So far, the family's silence on Deno's case had made it seem like they were collectively on his side and blind to all the red flags. But this confrontation sent a message that some part of the family was sick and tired of the narrative. They were desperate to put an end to Zahra's version of events. At long last, there was no excuse for her delusion. Deno had moved on with his life and didn't even waste time to get a new girlfriend. Meanwhile, Zahra had to dance to the tune her new reality was setting for her. She would not like it, but what choice did she have at this point? The final chapter of Deno and Zahra's relationship played out exactly as many people predicted it would. She defended him, he left her. She was left alone to pick up the pieces, and it was absolutely devastating to watch.
I literally loved him, and when people say, why did you take him back? Because I loved him. Like, I don't know what else explanation to give you guys. I love.
Zahra went on a series of live streams where she had emotional breakdowns. From her voice, you could tell she was hurt and even regretful for how she'd been played for such a long time. Zahra admitted that she had been so blinded by love that she didn't care about the public's hatred towards her. It was meant to be her and Deno against the world.
I didn't care about the hate that I was getting. You think that I cared about the hate that I was getting? I loved him. I don't care. I don't care. It's gonna be me and you against the whole world. And that didn't come true.
Sadly, Deno was not interested in fighting the world by her side. The problem was, he had not only detached himself from her in his lazy apology, but he also left at the very moment when he didn't need her anymore. After his sentencing, Zahra finally saw the picture for what it was, a complete embarrassment of herself.
Guys, no, like, I got PPU'd. I took you back. I made myself look like a fool. Vonnie stuck up for you. And now you're with a girl at the hockey game, and she's pretty good. No hate to her.
The entire picture would have been different if she had finally put her anger and pride aside to admit this fact to her audience. Her self-reflection was painful, especially because it came right after Deno was set free. Zahra finally realized that he wasn't worth fighting for. In one particularly heartbreaking moment, she said she should have let him go.
No, I need...
Somehow Zahra hoped she could reopen the case, but there was no going back for her or anyone. The deed had been done.
I can't reopen the case. Okay? So with everybody that keeps telling me to reopen the case, I can't. I just got off the phone with the detective. I can't do nothing about it.
During this period, Zahra also claimed that she'd been manipulated by Deno and his lawyer. Well, we kind of suspected that, didn't we?
His lawyer and his dad manipulated me to falsely tell them that we were together, even though he deleted me.
Sadly, the damage had been done. The internet didn't take the news quietly. Some internet users were sympathetic to Zahra. This commenter, for instance, was simply glad that the incident was behind them. I'm so happy she's awake. More importantly, alive. I knew she'd wake up and realize he did this on purpose. But others, well, let's just say they didn't sugarcoat their relief. A faction of them expressed that Zahra had only come to her senses after Deno left her. The problem is, if he came back, she'd take him back in a heartbeat. She only feels this way now because he left her. It's arguable, but it also makes sense, considering how Zahra had actively ignored all the warning signs. Meanwhile, another set of people blamed her family for the misfortune. Your family let you down, Mama, in your most vulnerable, weakest moments. They made him out to be innocent. The bottom line was, everyone was angry that she had missed out on the chance to get her justice. Now, we can't blame a victim of traumatic brain injury for the way they acted. However, in this case, it's hard to find an excuse to justify Zahra's behavior. Since she could come to her senses after Deno left, it meant that she still possessed a semblance of her thinking faculty. But now this sudden miracle doesn't matter anymore. Zahra had to face the consequences of her own actions, and the internet could finally breathe fresh air around a topic that shouldn't have lasted this long in the first place. Finally, maybe I will start liking her now. Now she has an opportunity to heal. In the aftermath of Deno's departure, Zahra went on a full-blown journey to acceptance. Since she could no longer reopen the case, she decided to focus on self-reflection and further healing. On the quest to self-meditation, Zahra returned a new soul with zero respect for Deno.
Literally, him and his weak-ass apologies. Literally. He doesn't even know what it feels like to have 4 surgeries because...
In the same video, Zahra once again admitted that Deno had manipulated her. But instead of regret this time, her tone was firmer, filled with the conviction she lacked in the early days of her rehabilitation. Her acknowledgement was refreshing.
And I was so dumb. Like, oh my God, I was so dumb. Like, oh my God, he manipulated me.
But it somehow drew Deno's attention back to the discussion. He refused to let people think that he was a manipulator. On top of being an abusive boyfriend, that is. The insults had gotten too much for him to bear. So he went live.
Y'all trying to say, oh, I made her say this. Nobody made nobody say. I swear to God, on everything I love, on my baby, on my child, on my life.
Deno had moved on, but his reputation as a girlfriend shooter followed him around like a middle name. Deno couldn't be seen on the internet as a loving boyfriend anymore, so he spoke his truth. However, the most baffling thing happened. Zahra joined his live and called him a liar.
Bro, what?
You're a liar.
Okay.
Ultimately, Deno disappeared from social media. He had a new girlfriend, which for the record was itself a complete shock, and he moved on from the Independence Day incident. Their joint TikTok page still remains online, frozen in time from before the shooting. It became a museum of red flags, a haven for whoever needed a reality check if they wanted to act stupid for love. Zahra and Deno's story is one that'll stay with us. It'll be discussed and referenced for years to come. What happened to Zahra Hashemi is a tragedy on multiple levels. It's a tragedy that she was shot and the man who perpetrated it walked away with minimal consequences. It's a tragedy that she felt compelled to defend him despite the evidence against him. And it's a tragedy that we couldn't blame her because of her injury and her family. At the end of the day, Zahra made her own choices. They weren't wise ones, and most people wouldn't have done the same in her shoes. But she did what she desperately told herself was right and ended up being burned for it. One lesson we can derive from this story is that self-love is important. If you wake up from a coma and heard someone dear to you had pulled the trigger, maybe exercise caution first. It might have been an accident. Not Deno's definition of accidents, but a real one. What would make the most sense is being wary first before believing stories. Also, maybe check the police report. Who knows? Maybe the truth from an eyewitness would help you gain clarity on the situation. Zahra made a lot of mistakes in her painful story, and will grieve the loss of justice along with her. But one thing is certain, trust and self-love are very important and would help people walk out of toxic relationships, especially when the warning signs are written in plain red for all to see.